Welcome to Shamanism, Metaphysics, and Grace. I'm Lauren Hubele, interviewing today Jyoti Wind. Welcome, Jyoti.
Thank you, Lauren. Good to be here.
Jyoti, we have a lovely topic I'm excited to dive into with you on the medicine wheel. But would you first open our space?
Sure, I'd love to. So this is a prayer poem that I wrote called Prayers to the Seven. O grandmothers of the East, I call to you. See my face. Recognize that I am your sister. I am your child. I ask for your ear to hear my prayer and stand with me. O grandmothers of the South, please hear my voice. I call to you out of the wilderness of human life. Recognize me, please. I am yours. Please be with me. O grandmothers of the West, I am singing your names. Please know my name. Please see my face and acknowledge me as one of your own. O grandmothers of the North, imbue me with your wisdom. Sing my name, hear my prayer, make me one of yours. O grandfather of the above, I am calling you to protect me. I am your sister, your daughter, and I ask for your love. O grandmother of the earth, my cells come from your cells. My breath is your breath. Please remember I am your daughter. I love you and stand upon within you. O grandmother inside me, bring me your wisdom and truth. Let me honor you by calling forward the essence of my power and hear your voice in my words. Please see my face.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you.
Jyoti, I think maybe it would be a lovely place to begin is to just define, in your perspective, the medicine wheel.
Um, um, the medicine wheel and the four directions go hand in hand. And the medicine wheel symbolizes the Earth's boundary and all the knowledge of the universe and the natural cycles of the four directions included in that wheel. The largest actual medicine wheel is the Bighorn medicine wheel in Wyoming. It's the largest one, especially in North America. And so I drew upon different cultures to talk about the four directions. In creating a medicine wheel, you're creating a sacred space. You can use stones in your backyard to mark out an area, a circle, and then with a compass or just watching the sun, you can note the four directions, the four gates, so to speak, and mark them symbolically, perhaps with a color or uh, even planting a plant in that direction that's symbolic of that direction. And then you could stand in that medicine wheel and face the directions in the day, in the morning, greeting the east when the sun rises. In the south when the sun is overhead, in the west when the sun is getting ready to set, and in the midnight hour or in the evening, the north. Okay, and I was thinking about this. There's so many ways of honoring, just in general. There's some people rattle, some people drum, some people clap when they have nothing else with them in the directions. Some people just put their hand on their heart and put their other hand facing that direction and expressing their thoughts of love and appreciation and gratitude, and honoring the spirits of those directions. So the medicine wheel is more of a boundary that contains and marks the area, a sacred area for you or for a group of people. So I would like to give some key words, some colors, some animal spirits that are sacred to those directions. So, do you have anything for me before I start?
Yeah, thanks, Jyoti. I think just thinking of our listeners that may be new to even this concept, I understand you're declaring a sacred space within, and the reason for this is to use the medicine wheel as a place to give recognition, to honor the directions
Yes.
and what
Yes.
each of the directions offer.
Yes. And also just to create sacred space for you, for a person, there's many different ways of doing that. Simplistically, you can just, stand up in the room and face those directions, or go put your back up against a tree and honor nature and give thanks. And this is just another way to do it.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
you're going to take us through each of the directions and what might be associated with each one.
Yes, and from many different cultures.
Great.
Okay. So the East is the home of eagle, snake, hawk, and turtle. And the color is yellow. It's the place of illumination. It's the place of the sunrise. It's the place of Ceres, the goddess of grain and nourishment. The smudge for this direction is sweet grass, and it's the place of inspiration, insight, beginnings, and it's the place of youth and childhood, which is the human beginnings. Okay. Um, and the Celtic uh, goddess there is Bridget,
Okay.
would be Bridget. For the South, the animal spirits honored in the South, it's turkey, coyote, porcupine, mouse, serpent, salmon, and otter. And where the yellow was in the East, the red is in the South because it's a place of fire and passion. It's the place of innocence and trust, and it's the place of shedding your past. It's the summer season. It's the place of direction and purpose. It's wisdom and law, and it's healing, and it's Freya in the Northern European traditions.
So, Jyoti, as you're going through these, and I'm thinking use cases, so that might be a wonderful ritual if you were interested in shedding your past to honor the South in some way on a medicine wheel.
Absolutely. And a lot of times when you look at your own cycles, the beginning in the East, the movement in the South, the receiving in the West, which we'll get to, and the rest in the North, like we rest in the winter, a lot of times, not so much in this culture, but traditionally the North is the place of rest. If you find one of those pieces weak in you, then you honor that place. So for me, I'm great with ideas, I'm great with movement, I'm okay with receiving, I'm learning, but rest in the North, I would go from one thing into another. And so I would keep that medicine wheel of my own life constantly moving. And so I needed the rest of the North. And we'll talk about the North too. And so in my house, I place things in the North to hold that space and remind myself rest. I need to rest before I start the next project.
Jyoti, thanks for bringing that up because that's what was coming to me. I can remember you saying at different times, place something in the West to honor that or to remember
Yes.
that, or place something in the East. So that could be done even if I didn't make a medicine wheel.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's just Honoring, it's like a placeholder. It's like, okay, I need to learn how to rest and value rest because rest is not valued in this culture, and stop and take time to rejuvenate before I get the next project going. So I have a small little turtle that I keep by one of the windows on the north wall. Um, I just have different things that I put where I know I need to have a placeholder and an honoring.
Yeah, I think it would be good once you've gone through all of them to hear some of the ways you've interacted with them, and that will give folks ideas for themselves.
Sure, sure. So the next direction is the west. It's the home of Bear, the healer, Thunderbird, Jaguar, Grizzly Bear, Beaver, Frog, and Shark. Okay. It's an OSHA smudge made from, it's just, an OSHA root. It's a plant that grows high up in the mountains, usually found above 8,000 feet, and you can dig it. And OSHA root is what bears eat to clean out their system when they come out of hibernation. But it's also a lung herb. It's great for the lungs. The color is black. It's a place of introspection, of dreams. It's water. It's matcha in the maca, sorry, in the Celtic tradition. It's learning how to receive, how to take things in. It's scarlet mallow, purple cone flower, which is echinacea, wild bergamot, which is like wild oregano, and it's a place of truth. It's the autumn, middle age, and it's the place of healers, and it's the evening. So West is about receiving, being able to take things in. And at the end of this, of our talking, I'd like to lead a meditation to the West because we're in autumn and it is about receiving, its bounty, its harvest, all of that. So the other direction, the main four directions, is the north. It's the place of wisdom and gratitude, the place of the wisdom keepers. It's the home of buffalo, mouse, dragon, owl, butterfly. The smudge is cedar. It's the place of the grandmothers and grandfathers and white buffalo calf woman. The Cailleach in the Celtic tradition. It's the place of rest. It's the place of meeting power face to face. It's winter. Its color is green. It's also the crone and death. Another the smudge here besides cedar can also be sage. So you might have a cedar sage combination smudge stick. The herbs are yarrow and wild licorice. Color is white. It is the earth and elder energy. It's the place of forgiveness. It's midnight and it's the ancestors. So how you might honor these directions is, as I said, just, wherever you are, putting something to hold your place of honoring that direction. It can be a small altar in your house. It can be a window ledge inside a windowsill, a window ledge outside. It can be just whatever space you create for yourself that holds a sacred spirit thread.
Mm-hmm. So, a very simple way of working with the medicine wheel and the directions could be creating a seasonal altar in each direction.
Absolutely, Lauren. Beautiful. Yes, yes, absolutely. Another way is when you wake up in the morning, inside the house or going outside, depending on your climate and where you live, is just honoring, just just standing, nothing special, on the outside. It all goes on the inside anyway, and just standing in facing that direction and just honoring the east and turning a quarter turn and honoring the south and a quarter turn and honoring the west, a quarter turn and honoring the north. I also include the above with a prayer to Grandfather Sky and the kingdom of the birds, the bird kingdom. And I honor the earth, whose cells my body comes from, who is the place of compassion and mercy. And I always ask to be reminded of my own when I'm honoring that direction. And then that wise woman, wise man who lives inside, who is my higher self, my soul, my inner spirit, and ask for the blessing of that part of me. So even though we look at 4 directions, I honor 7.
Okay. Okay. So you've given a beautiful example of how we might honor the directions on a daily basis. We mentioned this seasonally, but it seems like there are other ways we could work with the directions. For instance, if we're facing a particular challenge or working with ourselves to overcome something, how might we use the directions in that way?
So the east is the place of insight. So let's say you have something you want to write, but or a project to get off the ground, but you just can't seem to get it started. You can't, you're looking for ideas. I remember someone saying to me, we were having this conversation years ago, and she said, Jyoti, you're a natural writer. Why aren't you writing? And I said, well, I just don't have any ideas. I don't know what to write about. I mean, that's not an issue anymore, but it was at the time. And so a prayer to the East, to the spirits of the East. Would you give me some help here? Would you help me energize or be open to my own insights, so that I can have the energy to begin? So that I have the energy to start, even if what I'm starting isn't the final product, it doesn't matter. Like for a writer, there's no wasted writing. Whatever you write, you're still writing. Whether you use it in a project or not, is immaterial in a sense.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So looking to the east for things we want to initiate, begin, new starts.
Insights. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And then in the South, it's about movement. It's about taking those insights and that starter energy and doing something with it. Place my feet on the right path. It's about movement, not just sitting with great ideas that entertain the mind, but actually doing something with it and bringing something forward that you're actively creating. So it's movement.
Right. Giving it traction.
Yes, giving it form,
Okay.
giving it form in some ways. And then we move to the West. So if you're stuck and you have great ideas, but you don't know what to do with those great ideas, or just how to get up off the couch and do something, you would look to the South. You would ask for a sense of direction and purpose. You would ask for help with taking that first step, being mindful, even if you're not prayer oriented or asking oriented, you can still think to yourself, okay, what's the first step I need to take? I have the ideas, I know what I want to do. What's the first step I need to take in order to begin to manifest this, in order to begin the process?
Oh, that's wonderful and so practical. So then what would be the use of honoring the West?
The West. That's the place of receiving.
Mm,
So the West reminds us that yes, being in the seat of power as the giver is a great place to be. But we want to share that with other people so that other people experience what it's like to be the giver, so that you're not always the giver. You're learning to receive, which is fairly vulnerable for most people
sure.
because they don't know how it's going to look or how it's going to feel or when it's going to happen. And so you ask the West to help you in your receivingness, help you learn how to receive. It's the place of healing. It's the place of Bear, who is the healer, and it's learning how to take things in that you need, that are for you, to keep moving around the medicine wheel in your own growth.
So it sounds like a good place for feedback too on whatever we're
Absolutely.
working on.
Yes, and being able to receive it.
Right. And integrate it and take it in. So I see this because I love working out with projects in this cyclical way. And so we have this initiation period, we bring it into form, and then we might share it with someone for feedback.
Yes, yes. And we may share it for others to learn from and and then we receive the benefit of having shared that, of having given away, in a sense, given our gift. And then we do another quarter turn and we're in the north, and the north is a place of rest. It is the place of wisdom. It is the place of having learned from the idea and the movement and the reception and receiving, and now the wisdom of perhaps what we have done.
So maybe that's the place of integration then.
Then it would be the place of integration and also rest.
Yeah,
It's like completion in the sense. And then a new idea comes after you've rested and you start the medicine wheel again.
I love that. Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I met a woman years ago who was a substitute teacher or a guest teacher for this Hakomi training I was in, and she came from a psychological view of the medicine wheel, and so I took pieces from her teaching, and that's why I say, insight in the East, movement in the South, receiving in the West, and then integration and rest in the North. Not just this is the home of, this is the color of, this is the plant and the smudge and the a spirit keeper that hangs out there, but also how can you use it psychologically, emotionally, mentally, practically in your own day-to-day life as a wheel of movement for your own growth.
Well, and that's what we're all looking for tools for our growth. And what I particularly love about it is it's not linear. And so often we think, solving a problem is linear, or working on a project, you have a start and you have a finish. And particularly in the corporate world, things are seen that way. But it is always a cycle. We begin and then we begin again.
Yes, we come full circle.
Yeah.
Yes, we come full circle to that place of endings and beginnings, and just honoring the endings with some rest and some acknowledgement and some um, kind of noticing what it took to get there, and honoring yourself, and being open to the blessings of the wise ones, and then we start out as the infant and child, the new one in a new idea, beginning again.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. It's a rebirth. And I think that's one of the beauties of shamanism is taking things out of beginnings and endings and linear thought too, that it's oh, everything's a cycle.
Yes. Yes, and that's why these different directions honor certain seasonal cycles
Mhm.
and cycles of the human life. You know, the baby, the child, the adult, and the elder.
You know, Jyoti, I just had this thought too in thinking about healing. And if I had a particular trauma I wanted to heal from a certain time of my life, honoring that direction could help bring me insight into resolving it.
Yes, you could start with insight, and then what is the movement you need to take for you? Is it seeking someone else to help hold the space while you explore it? Or is it to uh, do something that acknowledges the trauma and lets the trauma know that you are ready to deal with it? And then receiving the help, the healing, whatever it is that's needed in that particular situation, your own wisdom, sort of, and then the wisdom of the healing process and what the overview was. Why did that happen? Or what was it there to teach you? Like I've mentioned this before, I had fallen on the ice last winter and had hand and wrist surgery, and and on my left hand, which is the feminine side of the body, and it's about receiving, where the right side is the male side, and it's about giving and doing. And so I knew for myself right away that this was going to be a lesson in receiving help. I couldn't do much by myself, you know, basics, hardly the basics. And so I needed to be able to receive the help that was being offered to me. I was very grateful for everyone who came forward to help me in many different ways. And I knew it was a lesson in receiving for me. So it was the West. It was honoring the West, teaching me something I just, in my own stubbornness, sometimes just wasn't getting.
Sure. Oh, wonderful, Jyoti. It looks like we've made it away, our way around the wheel. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I'd like to lead a guided meditation to the West.
Beautiful.
Okay. So the West is the place of receiving. The West is healing. So I'd like us to just kind of close our eyes. Maybe I'll do a little lightweight rattling. Just take a nice deep breath. There's no perfect way of doing this. Just close your eyes, let go of the day, and just picture yourself facing the West, whether that's an ocean for you, or whether that's the mountains for you, or just flat land, prairie, whatever it happens to be. Just in your mind, take yourself to a place that faces west. Let yourself receive what the West has for you. It might be a sudden gust of warm air. It might be something that you know in yourself you need to heal. Just all of a sudden, like a message. Let the West speak to you, the spirit of the West, in whatever form the West takes. Just ask, what needs to be healed here? What's the next step for me in my own healing process? And where might I need to step out of the place of giving and doing and let life give to me through the people around me, the beings around me, and how do I make peace with receiving? So just sit in the West for a few minutes. Thank the spirit of the West, and just come back to yourself, to your room, to your body, to your present moment.
So nice and so simple, Jyoti.
Very simple. It all is so very simple.
Yeah. It's a wonderful gift in this complex world.
Especially at this time, this season, as we seem to respond to it, because we're really going into a place of rest and with the winter, and it's on a corporate level, it's the busiest season with all the holidays and everything else. And so it's just sometimes taking just a moment to acknowledge, what am I receiving here? What am I open to? What's possible for me in this moment? Just one moment.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thanks for sharing your wisdom on this topic. It's one that I think is quite common, the medicine wheel, but the understanding of how to use it and how to integrate it into your life is something not many people understand. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, and there are a couple books out. The Medicine Bag by Don Jose Ruiz, and Dancing with the Medicine Wheel. It's a workbook by Sun Bear, and that can give you more groundwork for the directions, especially.
Well, great. Once again, Jyoti, thank you so much. And for our listeners, if you'd love to learn a little bit more about Jyoti's work, I'd like to send you over to her website. And Jyoti?
It's JyotiWindAstrology.com.
Wonderful. Jyoti makes herself available for individual readings and offers a number of courses. And I think you will find exactly what you're looking for there. So thank you again, Jyoti.
Thank you.